Hey, this is Derek Lewis, author, entrepreneur, former Pepsi president. You are watching FaceTime with Todd Wharton.
What's up? This is Bruck Up, and you're watching FaceTime with Todd Warner. Let's go.
From Times Square in New York City, it's FaceTime with Todd Wharton. With special guest, Derek Lewis. And musical guest, Bruck Up. And now, here is your host, Todd Wharton.
So welcome to another edition of FaceTime with Todd Wharton. I'm your man, your host, Todd Wharton. That's right, I'm excited because it's the kickoff of the summertime weekend. That's right, the beach, amusement parks. I'm going to get a tan. But you know what? The only thing I just really don't get are these summertime trends. I mean, can somebody please explain to me how this is a fashion trend?
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts.
Hey, come on, guys. You guys like wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, damn, I look crack-a-lackin'. But don't worry about it, ladies. I got the solution. I swear, I got you back. Now, fellas, here it is. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's a belt. It comes in all sizes and colors.
Yes!
It's made to fit any men's bottom wear.
Yes!
And we don't have to see the crack of your ass.
Yes! That's awesome!
This has been a public service announcement of FaceTime with Todd Wharton. Lessons start in the home. Raise our kids right, and please teach them to say no to crack.
We got a great show for you guys tonight. Former PepsiCo president, my man Derek Lewis, is in the house. And then later on, Dancehall Reggae music artist, my man Bruck Up, will be here performing his hit song, Good Life, right here on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. So you guys stick around, and we'll be right back after these messages. FaceTime with Todd Wharton is proudly sponsored by Fix Your Fungal Nail by Fix Your Feet Products, formulated by podiatric surgeon Dr. Yolanda Ragland to clear nails of fungal infection. For more information, go to fixyourfeetproducts.com. So welcome back to the show, everyone. So my guest tonight is the former president of PepsiCo. He's now a franchise owner of Big Dave's Cheesesteak, as well as the Philly Pretzel Factory. He just overcame a life-threatening crisis, and now he wrote a book as well. But don't listen to me. Let's talk to the man himself. Guys, please welcome to the show my man, Derek Lewis. Derek, how you doing, brother?
What's up, T? How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm loving the background jersey you got there, man. I had to notice that. Now, which one do you think I'm talking about?
I think talking about that purple one, that Los Angeles Laker one, man. The big diesel, man. The man.
I love it. But I see your name in the back, too. What's that, Lewis?
That's not my
52?
name. That's another like iconic football player. Played linebacker at the U and the Ravens for so many years. That was presented to me as a jersey because I grew up as a Canes fan. So one day my team gifted me that for the holidays one year. And so I have a collection of jerseys. I got to meet a lot of these guys over my career throughout, my home and office areas. I love collecting jerseys, and, I display certainly some of the most prominent figures out there, and really good guys too, and gals as well.
I love it. It's funny. I was just speaking to you offline. We were honored to be one of the hosts for the Red Carpet Sports Emmys this year, and they get to meet these football players in person. You don't realize how big they are. And because you see them on the field, they're big, right, and they got helmets on and everything. But when you see them in person and Andrew Whitworth shakes your hand and you look up at him and be like, hey, bro, could you like ease off on the grip?
Yeah, we're not playing right now, man. I think, we're not in play mode here. We're not in game mode. So ease off a little bit, right?
Yeah. So listen, man, I read your whole entire bio from top to bottom a couple of times. I had to read it a lot. If you guys don't know, his bio is extraordinary. Now you did something that's passionate to me. Not only, I believe 35 years at the PepsiCo Corporation. I believe you just retired 2024.
22.
22? Is that right?
22,
okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to make you younger, man, so don't interrupt me. No.
Hey, I'm good with that, by the way.
So one thing I love that you did, you became a president in the organization, which is so important. you were really looking out for the Black Hispanic culture, racial equality. I'm into that because I actually did something with M&T Bank with Keon Harold. He's the kid who got accused of stealing a cell phone at the Arlo Hotel. It was a big case. So one of the things that really drew me to your interview wasn't just the PepsiCo itself. It was actually what you were doing for Pepsi on top of everything else. Let's talk about this. What made you decide, you know what, I want to head this thing up because it's needed. This is a huge corporation, and I want to be the face and the voice of what needs to be done to bring out more equality in something like this.
Well, it was something that the company actually had talked to me about, and again, in my operating roles, which, that really speaks to my entire career, except that last year I was in major operating roles. And so I was always doing that work anyway. I
Yeah.
look at the focus obviously on the consumer and the customers, which is what drives our business and pays the bills, but then inherently was connected to that as your company and your culture and then your community, right? And so the work that I did, the work that I led for many, many years was just to ensure that it was all connected. So as we get top line and bottom line benefit, we're reinvesting that appropriately inside the company to strengthen the culture. Really focused on everyone, the greater good, but also, helping lift those groups, cohorts that have been underserved or underrepresented. And then community where people work, live, eat, and play. Places again are underrepresented or need lifts. It's important for companies, certainly the size of the company I work for, to give back, ensure we're standing those communities up the best way possible. And so in my mind, I look at it as a triangle with the customer, consumer at the top, company culture on one end of the triangle, and the community on the other end of the triangle. So I just did that work day in and day out, and it led to top tier results, really throughout my entire career. And it got to a point, certainly during that period of 2020, where, things were really pronounced and we really had to show some lean-ins as an organization. Again, I was already doing that work. So what happened for my group of my business is that we just accelerated. And so therefore it came, natural for people to say, hey, how do we scale this up in a way that benefits the entire organization, not necessarily just a geographical section or maybe even a sector of the organization. So we had those conversations and we were fortunate to be able to kick off that business unit at the beginning of 2022. And it's great. It was great. It was a great experience doing that. It just basically took what we were doing and try to, institute those practices, that culture, some of those principles and value sets into the larger business. It's not like they were absent anywhere, but the ability to get scale, a company like us, obviously, as we put a lot of resource in the market, we want to get that maximum ROI on it. And so the ability to do things in a more consistent way and start to really, lift and shift best practices really was the avenue that we were taking with this role and sort of the way we're trying to stand it up. So that was exciting to do that. I was again doing it anyway and helping driving the P&L. And then I got a chance to step into it where necessarily I wasn't in the P&L anymore, although that's still an output of the work. But now I was more focused and concentrate on, building disciplines, building the work streams for other functions across the company. So that's really what it was all about.
No, I love it. Now, when you were doing this, obviously it's a very sentimental issue for a lot of people. Did you find any roadblocks or challenges along the way that you had to step back and really evaluate how you're going to approach certain situations when it came to equality within the company?
Yeah, I think you couldn't necessarily. I operated at a fast pace, and certainly one of the early recognitions of that when you're dealing with very large organizations, everybody doesn't necessarily move in the same manner you may move, and so you have to sort of, I call it, slow down and get faster, and making sure you're bringing people along. You're not just sort of saying, hey, let's do this because it worked here or because it worked there. You have to really get level setting everybody, make sure the foundation's in place and everybody sees the opportunity the right way. I think that's all critical in any organization, especially a large organization. So I think that becomes a thing. Resources are always a challenge. Resource allocation, where to put them. You've historically put them here. You may be asking people now to maybe pivot those or change those or shift those. That obviously creates some level of discomfort. Again, in early stages, again, it's not sort of connected to the vision that you all have, the common vision that you have. And so I think those are a couple of the early learning lessons when you're trying to do something like that across a big landscape that you learn to learn. But you can overcome these. But you're going to have to understand how to go slow to go fast. You have to learn how to ensure everybody's on the same page, ensure everybody has input along the way. And those are things that, we're continuously building blocks in that cycle. And it's something that's always, I think, ongoing in any organization. I don't think anybody gets to a place where I think we're good. I think everybody gets it. Everybody understands. Resources allocated properly. We're all feeling good, and we go forward. I think you always have that dynamic and sort of healthy tension where you are debating these things, and in a lot of cases, as long as you feel good about that, in my mind, the triangle. That I always believe. I always go back to the triangle. It's not about individuals or leaders who are driving the work or leading the work. It does go back to that triangle, and the consumer, the company in terms of the associates, and then the community. That, like, in my mind, that's what has to stay front and center. As long as that does, I think it brings people to a more common space
Yeah.
than it maybe if you're just off chasing one or the other of those sort of connectivity points.
Well, you know what? You've done a lot. First of all, thank you for explaining that, especially in detail, because people don't understand it's such a great thing that you did on top of everything else, but to explain it that way, to make people understand how valuable it is in any institution. Because what I don't like is there are institutions that implemented the equality because they felt like they had to instead of doing it because it needed to. And that's the difference in corporations. Are we doing it because it's needed, or are we doing it because the government says we have to do it, right? And that determines where I would want to work, if I'm because if people know me, you're getting to know me. I love everybody. So I don't see all this. I just see intelligence, I see fun. And I always
Right.
tell people when I first meet you, I don't care who you are, what you are, where you're from. If you're a beautiful person, I'll love you to death. You got to earn the right to be an asshole. And that's the way I look at people on a basis on everything. So I love to know that Pepsi implemented this. It makes me even love the company even more. Now that you retired, you branched out. I'm noticing two areas you've been working in a lot: Orlando in Florida, and also Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Now you acquired, and you're a franchise owner now. I'm Italian. I tell everybody that. So you get me hungry just thinking about this. Big Dave's Cheesesteak, okay? And then you got one of the largest pretzel franchises. So tell me how. I mean, I know you made a lot of connections, but out of all the things in the world, you're like, you know what? I need myself a cheesecake franchise. Did I say
And no,
cheesecake?
hey,
Cheesesteak. Steak.
cheesesteaks. Yeah,
Yeah,
cheesesteak.
franchise. Tell me
Philly
about that.
flavor. Well, look, it is all about connections. And I think on one end, the connections of how I got into these particular businesses are based on relationships that I had with both organizations, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the early connection goes back to when I was a child, and I love the food. I love the staples of Philly. I grew up in D.C., but we're obviously, less than 2 hours from Philly, and so I got a chance to sample a lot of the Philly flavor as a child, whether it was up in Philly or certainly back and even in D.C. where it was available, and always loved that brand of food. As a
Yeah,
child, as a teenager, as a college student, and then I joined Pepsi. And obviously, as I moved around the country, it became a big void in the portfolio of food options. We lived out west for 10 years, and you can never really find or get a good Philly cheesesteak, an authentic one. You can never find or get an authentic Philadelphia pretzel. And so there were voids that I had throughout my life that I would often think about that would actually bother me because I love that food so much. And now I had resources. I had the ability to go buy them as much as I want. When I was a kid, I couldn't buy them every day because I didn't have the resources to do it. Only when something good happened or I was able to do chores and earn some pocket change to go do that. Now I can go buy as much as I want, but I can't get to it. And then you fast forward, throughout the time I moved around, going back to Philly, still feeling that pride, still feeling the joy when I walked in that market, having
yeah,
those staples. Fast forward, the relationships I had with Philly Pretzel Factory, and obviously Big Dave's. I got to meet them in different intervals of my career. I certainly got to meet Big Dave's and Derek Hayes at the end, near the tail end of my career. At Pepsi, I supported his business as well. So it was a sort of organic connection with them, supporting him. He was from West Philly. He was in Atlanta, a place where obviously we're under there's a lot of competitive pressure there. We all know that story. But we leaned in, and it was a great business for us to have and build out because it was a future because the brand was very, very strong. His purpose-led leadership style is very strong as well. So I retired, and then I decided, he and I talked about franchising. I said, I want to put maybe one store down here in Orlando, like a little bit of a side hustle. He's like, I need to do more than that. I'm trying to scale. I want to be the next Jersey Mike's. And
let's
so
do it. Yeah, I
let
want to
me,
see it.
let me help you with that because I know how to scale. I know how to scale. So we had very serious conversations, and this was a chance for me as I turned the next chapter. I was writing, meanwhile, writing a book, but at the same time, wanted to get the entrepreneurial thing going. I had some side hustle investments in private businesses and startup businesses, things like that. But here's a chance now to build something and take it and scale it.
Mhm.
So we cut that deal at the end of 2023.
Yeah.
And now here we are. I've got 6 locations, 4 non-traditionals. They're inside stadiums, 2 stadiums, and then 2 brick and mortar. I just recently opened within the last 8 weeks or so. So off the ground running. Philly Pretzel Factory was a bit of certainly a lag to that because again I have this familiarity and love with the staples. How do we do pretzels together? I got the 2 CEOs together. We brainstormed the possibilities of co-branding. So we got that done. And then in that process, I also signed up to be a franchisee, doing the same work down here in Florida, connecting the dots. Just last Friday, I did my first sort of co-branding store where both brands are represented in the store for sale. And it is bringing out some real consumer excitement. People from the Northeast, people from Philadelphia, people that love these staples are coming out and enjoying, food that they all admit when they walk in, we can't find this here. We're so grateful that now these stores are here, these businesses are here now, because now we can frequent them and satisfy that need that we all have. And I say, look, I know that need. I had it for a decade. I had a void for over a decade. And so I know what you're feeling like. So it's exciting to be able to bring really, really good brands to the market. I know how to scale. That's easy for me to do. I've done that, did that for many, many years. I understand what it takes to scale. So give me good brands. I have relationships. I know my way around the market. I'm, very much in touch with the consumer landscape here. Let's go. And so that's where we are right now, building these brands, building these businesses. I'm going to have, again, with Philly Pretzel Factory, I'm going to have brick and mortars. I'm going to have non-traditionals. That ball is already rolling. So this is going to be a really exciting time to bring the Philadelphia flavor to life in a sort of big way. I'm not saying some of these things don't exist down here, but there may be mom and pops and they're very isolated in where they are. There's nothing at sort of scale. I'm inside the stadiums. I have marketing deals. So we're creating a lot of brand awareness while we try to build that reach up. And I think it's the recipe, one of the key recipes for helping to get scale. So we're off the ground, good start, a lot of work to do, great team in place, doing the right things, and we just got to keep building on the foundation each and every day to get better at what we do and delight the customers that come in.
I love it. It sounds like to me you're going to be a franchise company for all the NBA franchises, which I think will be great to have a Philly cheesecake in every. Because I'll be honest with you, I mean, New York is the pinnacle of food, right? We're like the food capital of the world. But we all love Philly cheesesteaks. Like you cannot not like it. And pretzels, like the one thing I hate about pretzels, and I love pretzels, is when you buy one it's kind of soggy. People are looking forward to that hot pretzel. Not a lot of salt, because that's another thing too. Like we like salt, but there are places that oversaturate with the salt. But if you get a nice warm pretzel, little crunchiness, lightly salted, you just dip some mustard
Golden
into that.
brown, yeah, man. You're talking Philadelphia Pretzel Factory and the dips. You got to mention the dips, man. We have
Yeah.
dips, whether it's cinnamon or buttercream or cookies and cream, brownie. I mean, these dips are fire, right? So hot pretzel, salt detail, tight, and then dipped in one of those dips. Man, you're talking about an amazing experience. And that's what we're
Oh
doing.
my
Trying to
God.
bring that to life each and every single day here. So, and also look, beyond the fun of scaling brands and building new brands and doing all that fun work, I'm creating jobs. I
Yeah.
love the teams I have. I'm employing people, paying
Yeah.
them good wages, teaching them the game. I want them to be very successful, not just what they do now, but what they can do later on. So they're going to see me as a bit of a, senior mentor to them, somebody they don't have access to help them reach their dreams, right? So you're driving economic impact, creating jobs, you're building people's futures. You get to work around a lot of young people again. It's a fun time, man. This is I call it shift to being a go-giver. Now, I was a go-getter for my entire life, and now I'm in go-giving phase. I'm still a go-getter. I still have to go get to go give, but the
Yeah.
go-getting now is certainly is a lot more balanced. And a lot of times when I wake up every day, go-giving actually is more dominant and feels good because that's the stage I wanted to be in. Having the businesses gives me certainly more fuel, more energy to do that. So just a real exciting time and grateful every day I get a chance to get up and contribute the way I'm contributing. So the story still continues for the work that I'm doing. And, I always talked about, betting on myself, believing in myself and being myself. And no, those have not wavered from day one up until even today, as we're talking.
Listen, I'm loving how this convo's going. You're going through points that I was going to ask, and I love it, the flow. And I love mottos. I love like little quirks that people do. Like mine is, if you're not living a passionate life, then whose life are you living? You have a T-shirt also, which I love. Is in order to be a go-giver, you first have to be a go-getter. That's a shirt that I would wear, right? Because and mark your name on, trademark that. That's such a great, great thing that you have. Now let's fast forward because I love how you mentioned you took what you did, your life, and now you're giving back. And that's what I believe and I feel makes somebody's legacy. It's not just all the glitz and glam and all the great stuff they created, which adds to who you are, right? It's when you decide, you know what, I've done so much. I really have a story that I can help people that are aspiring to be something. That energy where I came from, where you came from. So we're no different. These are the tools I did. Let me talk to you about that. And this is where we're going to fast forward to that. Now, you had a situation that recently happened in your life, which actually happened to James Vanderbeek as well. And it opened up the world to him. And he came out on all news and talked about it. Let's talk about what you went through and then the book that came from that, the inspiration that came from that point that we all wish nobody should ever go through.
Yeah. Well, the book actually it preceded when I found out I had discovered I had cancer. So they were basically pretty similar in terms of
Okay.
the kickoff. The kickoff
Yeah.
of the book was very much at the same time I found out. So from that
Okay.
standpoint, I decided to do the book basically in February after retiring into December. Did some due diligence in January. It wasn't even my idea. It really came from former colleagues and friends and family. Everybody just said, "Hey, you've got to be able to help tell your story and help us navigate through our careers. Are you going to do podcasts? Are you going to do speaking engagements, newsletters? Are you going to write a book?" And so, I mean, like write a book, that's not something that I had ever thought I was going to go do. But after doing some due diligence on it and started really, again, up level this sort of go giving philosophy, it was the natural thing for me to go do because that book, while this book is my book and it's my story, my life, it is really meant to help inspire others, especially at a time where there's so much need for self-help and motivational literature. This hits the mark for that, in my opinion. So that book was off, and then I'm feeling like I'm getting in the zone now. I'm playing more golf. I'm starting a book.
Yeah.
I'm starting to do board things. I'm getting involved in some side hustle business deals and things like that that didn't take a lot of my time, but gave me some new energy. And then I started seeing blood on my stool. Went and got checked out after ignoring colonoscopy appointments for probably almost a decade, at least at
Yeah.
least at least 7 years. Ignored my annual physical, my doctor's advice at the annual physical to go get a colonoscopy now that I was 50, 51, 52, 53, et cetera, et cetera. Just didn't do it. And here I am now, blood in my stool. I go get the colonoscopy, and 2 weeks the results come back. You have a cancerous tumor. And suggested I go see a surgeon oncologist ASAP, not even ASAP, immediately.
Yeah.
So that was obviously a rough day and a rough time, a very difficult time, probably the most challenging time I've had. And I've had a fair share of challenging times in my life, but this one certainly ranks up there. But through the grace of God and relationships that I had, I made one phone call to a lady who was a great friend, a dear friend that I just didn't spend a lot of time with, but I always knew she had my back. I always knew she was a great person. I knew she had went through a similar thing years and years ago. And God told me to reach out to her in that moment in the car. My wife and I are scrambling to figure out what we're going to do next. And she put us at ease. Said, "Look, I got you. Stay calm. We got this." Within hours, I was talking to the chief medical officer at Advent Health, the surgeon who eventually did my procedure, all on the phone, sort of laying out a blueprint and a game plan for me. They saw some of my results through text messages, but they obviously couldn't do a full diagnosis. But assured me that I would be in the best care and that we would, pay immediate attention to this and get me through this, in a good space. And so that actually happened. So I probably went in surgery maybe 6 weeks after I found out I had it. I was fortunate enough to be able to get in for that. It did require surgery only. I didn't have to do any radiation, But the surgeon was very honest with me. He said, look, you were carrying this for at least 18 months. Based on the size of your tumor, it was probably a year and a half that you were walking around with this. Um, so, it had another month or so gone by because I was so anxious about getting the surgery. He's like, look, you've had it for 18 months. Really, 19 months is not going to probably change a whole lot, but it is time to get it out. I had a successful surgery, great recovery, hard recovery. Recovery was a lot harder than the sort of the after part was harder than the before part, in my
Yeah.
opinion, physically on my
Yeah.
body, because it is your core and it was a, 3 or 4 hour procedure, but all done with robotics and stuff, high technology. So, didn't really leave a lot of marks or scars, which again was very fortunate. And I've been on the road to recovery ever since. And I get tested very often. I've changed my diet. I'm doing things that I wasn't doing before to sort of help keep it away and move me into that, call it high 95+ percentile. There's no guarantee. I don't think you ever can get to 100% and won't come back. But the things I'm trying to go do is going to push me as high as possible. And so I stay on that regimen. And 2 years, literally 2 years from next week or today, actually, or maybe even tomorrow, is the 2 year anniversary of my surgery. So here I am, and I'm blessed to be here talking to you and staying cancer free. And we'll keep fighting hard to stay this way.
Yeah, congratulations, man. It's an honor to talk to you. So part of your diet is that cheesecake? Cheesecake.
Well, everything has to be done. I always look at
You
everything
gotta
in
ask.
moderation, right? Yeah, I got to sample the food. I got to make sure the quality standards are in place. So I always have
Like
to.
you guys know what I do, right?
Yeah, you got to get a bite. You got to get. But look, I sold Pepsi for 35 years. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So
True.
these are treats. These are great treats. And I love eating a great meal and a great on great occasions. It's eating a cheesesteak is celebratory, man. It's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You should be in a great mood. It's a great family occasion. It's an awesome experience to eat a cheesecake or a soft hot pretzel. I mean, these are fun times, man, to have, man. And so we're in a
Yeah.
lot of, the world is more and more chaotic and stressful. Sometimes continue to get more and more stressful. I don't think we'll be there forever, but right now we're in a dynamic that, there's a lot more anxiety and tension out there. And sometimes to relieve that, go get a good meal, man. Go get a good meal with your family. Take a step away from things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Enjoy that moment. And sometimes food is comforting in that regard.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
love it. Hopefully we'll see it in Six Flags because I think it'll be the perfect spot to see your brand all over Six Flags
Hey,
because
hey, it
Six
would be
Flags
great. It'd be
is
great.
huge.
I love the awareness. Yeah. I
Listen,
won't take
Six
care.
Flags or roller coaster parks, man. Listen, when we go to parks or anything, games, we're not thinking about, I want to get a salad. No, I'm having fun. Like,
It's
oh, I'm
indulge. You indulge. You indulge.
yeah. So I'm
All the
on
time.
Six Flags. I want to see your face, like, and a cheesesteak, like right next to it. And that's my guy right there. I'm gonna get one of them cheesesteaks. I'm gonna contribute to this
All right, let
franchise.
me let me start. I'm gonna get these. Let me get all these stadiums done first, and then I'll talk to you about the parks. But I love sports, and I want to be around sports fans all the time as much as possible. So I'm gonna start with
Something
them.
in
Then
the
we
mix.
can max out. Then we'll start going to some of these other venues that you're talking about, which are also great.
Yeah, come to New York, man. Got the Knicks now. We're back up. So hopefully. So the book, the memoir that you came out with, Survive in Advance. I love the title. Um, you're literally saying you're surviving. These are ways to advance. It's kind of like your mantra to how to just do what you love to do and give back. Okay. Was it you that came up with this title? Was it your team? And then what are some of the real big points on this? Because I know Dion is a huge, huge advocate for you, and he loved working with you. He said some amazing things to you, and obviously other people as well. You got the president of Hampton University. You got Essence Vulture. You have a lot, Essence Venture. But this book in itself is great. Tell me about this. And now, fast forward, what are some of the great points in this book you want people to get from this?
Look, I mean, the story is all about lessons on living life without compromise, right? And so it's all about the journey I had, a journey of resilience, journey of determination, and journey of pursuit of my dreams, right? And so as a young child, I had a very difficult childhood growing up in the streets of Washington, D.C., single parent household, grinding to not only, stay alive, but also to be a good student, take care of my younger siblings, be co-head of household, my mom, be responsible to do the right things. So the household ran the way it needed to run. So we were, surviving day in and day out. Thriving was something that I couldn't really put my arm around or head around at the time because it was just sort of getting from one day to the next each and every day. And each and every day brought a different challenge. And but I knew then because I saw normalcy at school, I saw kids that weren't going through what I was going through, or some of the other kids like me were going through. And I just said, how do I get to a place of normalcy? I want that normalcy. I want stability, normalcy in my household with the family. I want there to be a mom and dad. I want there to be kids sitting around the table for dinner every night. That's what I visualized. And I said, I got to deliver that, helping them with their homework, reading them a story before they go to bed, praying together, like good times, going on vacation a couple times a year. That's what I envisioned for what I wanted in my life because I didn't have that. So I wanted that for my kids, and I knew that, but I knew that was going to take a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, a lot of doing more of the right thing and less and none of the wrong things. I knew what right and wrong was. I saw it every day. I was doing wrong a lot, and then going to Catholic school every day, praying, asking for forgiveness of the things I was doing wrong every day, and then trying to do the right things while I was at school. And so I was a bit of a hypocrite in some cases when I was living as a child. I'm going back to talking about like 11, 12 years old. I'm not talking about teenagers even yet. So I didn't declare, look, I'm going to, at the end of the day, and I talked about this earlier, I'm going to bet on myself in this life. I'm going to believe in myself in this life. I'm going to be myself in this life. And at that point, I'm stacking all the chips in my favor and I'm going to go for it. But incredibly focused on working hard, determined, focused, doing the right things will lead to this path of normalcy, stability, and a good life. That's all I wanted. I didn't know what high of highs would be. I didn't know I would be, the president, one of the largest companies in the world. I didn't know, the things that I've been able to do. I was going to be able to do those things, or even think about those kind of things as a child. I just wanted some basics.
Right.
And so what happened in this journey is I tell people, once you get that foundation right and rock solid, all of a sudden, the lanes start opening up wider and wider. And then you can start to see and visualize even a greater destiny for yourself. And that's what happened for me as I stepped onto the campus of Hampton University. That's what happened to me when I stepped into the world of PepsiCo as a campus hire. As I kept moving and progressing through that, as I kept moving different cities, I kept becoming a better version of myself. Met my wife in Hampton. So we got to build this dream together early. The foundation of our relationship, started very early in our cycle. And that's been the gift that keeps on giving as well. So it's a series of life experiences where I learned how to get better and level up and pursue the highest dreams I could be, certainly of myself first, and then those who are around me. And that game plan, that became the blueprint for me, throughout my entire life, even up until now, right? So I really haven't wavered from the principles, value sets that I set as a child. I just realized there's more to go do, and the stakes get higher, and the vision can get bigger and better and bolder, and there's certainly more abundance at the end of all this. But that wasn't the focus, right? And it's still, for me, that's not the focus. It's the foundation, it's the disciplines of continuing to progress and being the best version of yourself each and every single day. That's really what I aspire to do. So I play these games with myself on, every day there's I call it taking some L's. There's things that I didn't do the way I wanted to do them. And that's not for me to be hard on myself, beat myself up, be down, be depressed. It's a way for me to refocus. So when I get back up the next day, I'm actually taking a step forward, not taking a step backwards. If I get to a point where I'm celebrating all the time and, everything is going great and there's nothing I can do to be better, a better version of myself, I have nothing to do I can be better as a spouse, a dad, a community leader, a business person, what have you. I'm all done. Is that it? Is it over? That complacency starts to set in. You start to go backwards. You start to slip a little bit. So for me, this is just me keeping my edge is what's really important. And so that intensity is still there. That focus is still there, but I'm still a big dreamer. I still love people. I love serving people. I love being around people and making people's lives better. There's certainly a lot more fulfillment for me that others succeed, not just me, but others around me. I get more satisfaction, always have, to see that. Those stories are throughout the book. Even working in, shelters or working in, places where people were disabled, didn't have, the things that I had. I learned early on that, hey, I may have a difficult life. I can take care of myself. These people actually can't take care of themselves and they're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and they can't take care of themselves. And I think I have problems every day. What about these people? And so I learned that, hey, this isn't about you anymore, right? You have to be you, but your purpose is lift yourself up, and then you could pull many others along with you and beside you. And that's still been the focus, and that's the work and task in hand each and every day.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I don't even want to get the book. I want to talk to you for like the next 5 hours.
Let's go, man. I can go get a cocktail, man.
I'm down, but you're in Florida right now, man. So it's like, unless you're like a really beautiful woman, I'll consider getting a plane ticket. But you a good looking guy, but you a dude. Now you got to just fly all the way down and just get a burger. But we're definitely gonna meet up. But if there are definitely a place where people can purchase your books. So what are some of the major outlets that people can go right
Yeah,
now?
all the major retail outlets. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, they're out there on the website. I have a website, realdereklewis.com. It's available in there as well. It lists all the retailers that have it. You can follow me at Real Derek Lewis on all the platforms, IG, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Love to hear from people. Love for people to get a chance to read the book. Grateful for the people to have left some great comments, and I get excited and goosebumps to read those, because that is part of the mission of fulfilling others and ensuring that others are getting satisfaction. And it really is a catalyst for help and motivation for others.
I love it, man. So guys, definitely go to his website. It seems everything's there. You can find where to follow him, where to get the book, where to learn more about him. This is Derek Lewis, the next chapter. That's what I'm going to call this interview, Derek Lewis, the next chapter. And man, you went from Pepsi to cheesesteaks, to pretzels, to a life crisis, and now you're giving back in a new chapter and becoming your own man in rights in what you love to do with sports, get involved with new franchises, and now work for yourself. And that in itself is a pretty cool life that you're living so far, man. So first of all, Derek, thank you for being on FaceTime with Todd Wharton, man. I appreciate you taking the time for being here.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Todd. Keep doing that great work out there, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. So don't go away, guys, because coming right back is dancehall reggae music artist Bruck Up, and he'll be performing his hit song, Good Life, right here on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. So stick around.
Listen up. Are you embarrassed to show your feet in public? Do you wear water shoes to the pool or wear socks to bed? Do you bury your feet in the sand when you're at the beach? Do your feet look like this? Okay, calm down. And that's why you must have Fix Your Fungal Nail. You just simply want to get rid of those gross, disgusting, embarrassing toenails. Trust me, I'm the queen of toes. Check it out. Go to fixyourfeetproducts.com and I'll see you soon.
Go to fixyourfeetproducts.com. That's fixyourfeetproducts.com.
What's up, people? This is the International Bruck Up, and right now we're dropping my new music video on FaceTime with Todd Warner. Todd, let's do it!
Yeah. Oh. Me no argue with money, me no beg mine. Bills them a pay when I rent time. Bar a shell out, me a spend mine. Comfy party and have a good time. Outside every night and a sometime. Every dollar when me come with me don't mind. Everybody cups up to the sunshine. I come a party to the good life. So me talk it, so me clock it. Money I fi spending at the market. Up front of the summer party. Big black Benz push button start it. 100,000 you see the card. VVS time and a gliss upon me. Bad gal they a look a pretty Barbie. Yo what some go on you would a think me born rich. Me no argue with money, me no beg mine. Bills them a pay when I rent time. Bar a shell out, me a spend mine. Comfy party and have a good time. Outside every night and a sometime. Every dollar when me come with me don't mind. Everybody cups up to the sunshine. I come a party to the good life. Good life. Good life. good life. I come party to the good life. I be a bad girl, tell you what my table there. Be my tick well charged with the cable there. Me come fi party, you can't pay me. Me no want a man in a me ears, you no hear me say. Party all night long, all night going on strong. Be a bad man, I be a gun. Be a bad girl, I be a dog. Me no argue with money, me no beg mine. Could it bills them I pay when I rent time? Bar I shell out, me I spend mine. Come fi party and have a good time. Outside every night and a sometime. Every dollar when me come with me don't mind. Everybody cooks up to the sunshine. I come party to the good life. Good life. Good life. Good life. I come party to the good life.
So first and foremost, everyone, I want to take a moment to thank my guests, Derek Lewis and Bruck Up, for coming on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. Derek, first of all, congratulations on overcoming such a life-threatening crisis, because you know what? You have a lot more to do on this earth, and we're happy and proud to have you here. We're honored to have you on this earth. You're a good man, you're a mentor, and I think you're doing a lot of things that anybody can look up to. Congratulations on the franchises, former president of PepsiCo, and I can't wait to meet you in person. And man, we're going to get some cheesesteak, we're going to get some pretzels, Orlando, and we got to go to Disney World, man. I mean, we're going to be in Orlando, and I can't wait to see you, brother. Have a great summer. Bruck Up. If you guys don't know, I've known Bruck Up for literally over 10 years. We met each other at Summer Jam, and from then we became good friends. And bro, congratulations on the great song, Good Life. I'm loving it. I think this is a summertime hit, and I want to see people up in the club just bumping around and living a good life and living those good vibes. Guys, have a great summer. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. But until then, like I always say, you're not living a passionate life, it seems like you're living. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon.